No, yeah, the Savages. I don't know, man. Once just got it cleaned up and lubed up, it feels a lot better. It like the action feels smoother. I loaded it up once and it felt better. Like I think it'll be even better. All right, we're recording. What's up, guys? We are back. Cody is not with us this week. He did die from lack or too much insulin, lack of too much insulin. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I am a free agent now, though, so pick me up. Joining us this week, we have. Do you want me to use your full name or just use your first name?
First name. The last one. Okay. Last name's ugly.
Okay. We have Travis on this week. He's been on before, I think, right? Yeah, you've been on before. Ages ago, a long time ago. It's been a minute, but we thought we've been getting heavy into the politics side of things. So we thought we'd do some fun shit this week, some stuff I actually want to talk about. We have kind of an expert on, I guess you could call him, or amateur expert. What would you call yourself on some subjects we plan to discuss this week?
A semi-professional enthusiast.
Yeah, enthusiast. That's what I would call you for sure. Welcome, Travis. Thanks for coming on, man.
It's good we're avoiding political stuff.
Yeah, I'm just not interested in it anymore.
Well, that and I have to be all PC now.
Huh?
I have to be all PC.
Somewhat, to a degree. I mean, don't.
There's stitches in my life.
Right, don't decapitate yourself or anything. But no, I wouldn't cut the head off of the fiery snapbacks of Travis. I did. I should have learned from your mistakes though on the fiery end of the joke spectrum. I think I told you about that the other day when I hopped into a Discord channel.
Oh yeah.
I dropped the classic. I just jumped in and they were like, "What's up?" And I was like, and just to clarify, I said N like hyphen
dash.
word. Yeah, I didn't say the word. I just said N word. Turns out like three of the 5 people in the channel were like new to the server and they were black guys and they found it very funny, thankfully. But I was like, I'm so sorry, guys. I didn't know. Like, it's not like that. It's just a funny thing to say.
See, it's better than mine because you're not in a work environment.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, the jokes are fiery, but they will get you in trouble.
Especially from white people.
Almost exclusively from white people. Turns out they don't really care when you say things like that, especially like in the tone, right? You say it in a certain tone or in a certain way, and like people understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
Unless they just want to be angry about something. Like if they just want to be angry, they're gonna be angry. There's not much you can do about that.
They're looking for somebody to hate.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, we thought to keep it a little lighter this week. We went shooting yesterday and just wanted to talk about how that went a little bit. We got to test some new things, test some really old things, just work some rounds through the guns, let her eat, as it were. What were you most excited to try out yesterday, Travis?
Man, that's a rough one because I have been going absolutely crazy on either adding stuff to the arsenal or improving stuff, but I'd say the one I'm look most forward to was that AR, the old 7.62.
The 7.62 AR it's a crime on humanity, but in the best way.
It's an absolute bastard child. Everybody hates it because yeah, I love the gun, hate the idea, but it was executed.
I think it was
in a good fashion.
It was executed very well, and it fired super well too. I was not expecting that. You know how it is when you go out with somebody who builds a gun, and you get out there, and they're like, It
you don't know if you're
twice.
losing an arm or not.
Right, yeah. It's going to blow up in your face. It only gets 3 rounds through it, and then it's fucked for the rest of the day. But, I mean, it just went out there and fucking clapped like an AK, you know?
Yeah,
but I feel like you could have dragged that thing around in the mud and it still would have fired.
You know, I just got to work on a couple things. I had a couple light strikes. I don't know if it did it to you at all while we were shooting. But the hammer spring in there, it's too light.
I think I only got to maybe put like 5 or 6 rounds through it. I
got you should have grabbed a couple more.
I did. So like I took it over from somebody who had fired off most of the mag, and then I just put like the last couple rounds through it. Then I loaded another mag with the intention of burning through that mag, and just never got around to it because I got sidetracked by my own little pet project out there.
Yeah.
So I never got around to like putting more rounds through it, but the rounds I put through it, I mean, it was accurate. It fired. It didn't beat me up. The muzzle wasn't like bouncing into the air. You have fucking ridiculous muzzle brake on it.
Ye old cookie cutter. That thing is a ridiculous brake.
Yeah, I mean, it kept it just pointed right down range, man. It was great. What's your take on that? Like, why build that over an AK?
Well, truth of it is, AKs are just getting expensive for proper AKs. Yeah, I mean, you can go out pick up a Century Arms AK for like $700 or $800, but it's Century Arms. That thing sucks.
Right.
The stocks are real short. They don't like to cycle. Most AKs are going to be stamped if they're on the lower end of the price spectrum. And right. Even Century Arms manages to fuck up the stamping.
Huh. So, so that's on buying just buying an AK?
Yeah, and then if you want to build an AK, you almost need a fairly extensive background in gunsmithing because you got to get the front trunnion, all specced out just right for the head spacing.
Can you run that word by me again? Trunnion?
Yeah, the front trunnion. It's the front block in the front of the receiver of the AK that's pretty much got your chamber in it. It controls your back spacing, to my knowledge.
Huh.
But you can look up some real shoddy builds anywhere on the internet, especially Reddit. There's some fucking scary ones.
Okay.
But it's just, as crude as AKs are, they just require a lot more in-depth gunsmithing in order to get one that works right.
It's always a bad sign. I'm looking at them online right now. It's always a bad sign when like one of them's $10 and one of them's $99.
Oh yeah, people will throw those $10 ones in all the time.
One of them's $250 and one of them's like fucking $10 again. It's $29.99. Like what the fuck? That's too big of a price gap for me, man. I don't know about all that. Yeah, okay, so I get so it's just an ease of access to parts and stuff, or easier to put together.
To parts. Yeah, the AR platform is gonna be forever known as the easiest platform to assemble. That's why everybody fanboys over it, and everybody and their mother has one. It's a basic bitch gun, but there's a good reason for it. Because Stoner was a god amongst men.
Right. I was doing that. I'll kind of get into that more later, but I was doing some research into Savage today, like the guy Savage, the founder of Savage.
Yeah, another god.
Dude, the man was a fucking whiz kid. Like, if he would have been an Elon Musk if he was alive today. Like, he did everything.
100%.
He did everything from like run train companies to plantations to cattle ops to inventing one of the most renowned gun brands in the world, and then deucing out like 2 years after he started the company.
You just don't get more American than Savage, Stoner, Colt, Browning.
Yeah, and I didn't realize that. I don't know if they still are, but at the time, Winchester and Remington were the same company.
Yeah, they were fucking each other hard
back in the 1800s, and yeah, that's why Remington like got out of the rifle making game, because Winchester was like, "Hey, you're giving us competition from inside, man."
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, Savage was a G, and like you said, he'd be the next Elon Musk. Because you look at your own rifle there, the Model 99. That thing was revolutionary.
Yeah, I mean it's ahead of its time, really. Like if you go look up videos on it online, it's just obviously, I mean, you're gonna get that from pretty much any gun you look up. You're gonna get your fanboys, but there's not a lot of haters of it online, like at
Everybody
all.
that hates it only hates the looks.
I don't even get that, dude, because I love the aesthetic of it. Like it's beefy lever action.
So I like it, but I understand where people are coming from because they're used to traditional lever guns.
They like that classic Marlin Winchester look of a lever action. Yeah.
Yeah, but to be frontiering in new territory, it's got to be ugly. Look at the fucking Tesla.
Right. Yeah, no, it's crazy too because it's like in that sense, what they hate it for is what makes it so great. Like it's beefy and stocky because it's all hardened steel. Like it could take the smokeless powder, whereas the Winchesters and the Marlins of the time could not. You know.
Yeah.
So
not until like of recent, I say recent, heavy in quotes because it's probably like
the 50s,
1894. Is when they started being able to consistently take high pressure rounds.
I definitely have to look into that more, but they made it sound like from the few things I was looking at that Marlin and Winchester didn't catch up with that for a long time, and that's why they kind of faded into obscurity as far as like lever actions in general were still always like very preferred, at least until after the Second World War, as like, you know, the primary deer gun.
Yeah.
Until the bolt actions made their way back from the Second World War, but like they couldn't compete with the Savages as far as like actual ruggedness goes, as you know.
They couldn't compete with Savage on accuracy either. I mean, no, I'm not just sucking Savage's dick because I got one and you got one. They're just
I also have a Marlin, you know, and you also have a Winchester. Like, I'm at the end of the day, I'm just a lever action fan, but the more I learn about this gun, the more impressed I am by it, you know?
Yeah. It is a fantastic gun. I think if you threw a nice piece of glass on there,
see, that's the hard part. Reach out real easy. That's the hard part is finding glass for something that old, you know? Finding a mounting kit for something that old is not easy.
I'm sure we could cobble something together.
Yeah, we'll dig something up, but
because I bet you that gun, let's see, yours had to be made sometime after 1820. Not 1920. After 1920.
I felt mine was built in the 40s sometime, I think.
Around 1940. I bet you, even as old as that gun is, the barrel is still in good shape. I bet you it'll hold at least 2 or 3 MOA.
Hold on, I got it right here. Let's check the serial number. So, little context. This gun was my great-grandfather's. Killed many a deer, this gun. And supposedly there is a scope for it somewhere out there. It had a scope on it.
Somewhere out there nearby.
Yeah, it's in like my grandmother's estates thing somewhere, probably. Didn't make its way to me, unfortunately, but that's one thing. It'd probably be easier for me to just find a glass for it than try to track that down.
Here you go. Here's a 0 MOA ticket tinny for it for $70.
Can you if I read you the serial number, can you see what year it was made?
Oh, 100%.
I could pull it up, but that I gotta switch windows and things. That's a whole thing. But yeah, if I remember right, I think it was made sometime in the 40s, might have been the 50s. It's definitely the older version of the 300 Savage Model 99 because of the safety. I guess eventually the safety made its way up on top of the right behind the chamber.
Like an old 700 action almost.
Right. But because mine is on the lever, it's like the older version. Let me know when you're ready for that number.
Oh, ready.
All right, it's 717497.
Let me work on that real quick.
Oh, it was made in Massachusetts. Cool. An actually American-made gun.
Don't see that anymore.
No, you really don't, man. That's pretty neat, actually. Just in and of itself, owning an actual like American made. I don't even think my Marlin was actually made in the United States. But yeah, I also like the bluing on the hardened steel. Like they did the heat treat on it, so it's like got all the bluing on it, almost like Damascus. It's really cool.
We're gonna have to keep up. Oh, excuse me. We're gonna have to keep up on that bluing.
Yeah, I gotta get some oils and shit for it, but it is a little faded from what it should be. But as far as like the ones I've seen online, this one's still in really good condition. Like this is probably the best in condition one I've seen from the ones I've seen online. Most of them have huge gouges in them and shit, and like the bluing's all gone, but this one still has a lot of the bluing on it. But yeah, anyway, that was my sidetrack from the AK yesterday. Was getting into the 300 Savage, trying to figure out. I mean, this is probably I want to say my great grandfather died in the maybe mid to late 80s. So this gun probably hasn't been fired since the 70s or 80s. Before yesterday. And he came right out and fucking ding targets all day long, man.
That thing was great. I mean, 600 yards, irons. Fantastic.
600 paces, so, give or take.
I'll give it 600 yards.
Oh, yeah, I'd say it was probably 600 yards, but I will give that stipulation. It was paced out. It wasn't range. We didn't have a rangefinder, so plus or minus, but still pretty good. I was looking up the world record for iron sights today, and it's like in the 2,100 something yards area.
Looks like your Savage was made in 1953.
53. Okay, so yeah, that makes sense. Pretty close to the 40s. That's where I was. Early 50s.
But now I'm looking at this Picatinny rail, and this would be a nice addition.
You can put a Picatinny on it?
Yeah. So this is for its factory drilled and tapped. So
yeah, it's got two on the top.
Yep, one right in front of the chamber, or one right on top of the chamber, one right behind.
Yeah, probably about 1.5 inches apart.
Yeah. This Picatinny will fit on it. 0 MOA, and you can fit your modern rings on there and put maybe like a crossfire or something on.
Ooh. I have a crossfire, so that'd work.
We just got to make sure, because, let's see. The bursts Arbolia was using.
You know what, though? I've been thinking, if I'm not going to... So all of this, little more context, we've been trying to figure out what guns we're going to use for pronghorn season coming up here, and was kind of between trying to get this gun, where I want it for that, or just building a new gun. And if I'm saving the money by already having the gun that I'm going to use, I might as well put that towards a really nice piece of glass for it, right?
Oh, 100%. I mean, the gun's already tagged a bunch of game.
Oh yeah, this gun killed more deer than I could ever hope to, probably.
I can't deprive it of its career.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, and there's something cool about it, you know what I mean? And I actually found this to be a trend among the forums for this gun, for the Model 99, is it has heritage not only in that it's like an old style Savage gun and it is an antique, but that it's gone through multiple generations of hunters being this, like, they probably would have had way more sales if they weren't as rugged as they are. You know what I mean?
Oh, 100%. I mean, the gun lasted all the way up till 1999. So it's gone through, maybe 3 generations of people.
That was kind of cool that they chose to end it on its 100-year anniversary.
200-year anniversary.
200?
Yeah, let's see, 1899, 19... Oh, my bad. I'm fucking... terrible at math.
I'll take it out and post.
No, leave that in.
No, but it is cool that they chose to do that. But all the forums have at least a couple of stories I was going through of like, this was my dad's gun. He gave it to me, in the 70s or whatever. And then he died and I still hunt with it, until I couldn't hunt anymore. Like, it's old boys and it was their dad's gun, This was like, I don't know, there were a lot of family heirlooms and a lot of stories and stuff. And I felt that way a little bit about using this gun. Is like, it would be wrong not to, right?
It is, especially for you because it was a hand-me-down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can't kill its heritage there.
I almost feel bad that it sat for as long as it did,
Yeah, it happens. As long as it's running now, and it's running fine.
Is it not crazy to just pick a gun up out of a case after 20 years of it not being opened and there's no rust, there's no pitting, there's, it's in immaculate condition. The wood doesn't need to be restained or anything.
Is that fucking Cosmoline?
Yeah, and it was stored in a dry environment too, probably a little bit.
Yeah,
I would think if this gun had been stored like that in Florida for 20 years, it probably wouldn't look as good as it does today.
It'll look cooler.
A little more rugged, right?
But I do think that your rifle there is worth a nice piece of glass, nice modern piece of glass.
Yeah, we'll figure something out for it. But what's going to be your pronghorn gun?
My pronghorn's at 6.5. Once again, the Savage 110.
Dude, we're going to take down some pronghorns with two Savages, one very modern, one very old.
Yeah. But super modern for mine with the, let's see, my chassis comes in tomorrow, so I have to go out and re-sight it again.
Ooh. Oh no, darn. We have to go out shooting again.
Listen, it hurts me because 20 rounds of this shit is $60.
Yeah, no, I hear you, dude. I think I paid 80 something for the 40 rounds I bought for this.
I have to get dies to reload 6.5. Now, not 6.5 Creedmoor. I just a background on that 6.5 PRC. So.
Oh yeah, I'm very excited. Immediately I was like, "It's a Creedmoor."
No, that's one of the biggest reasons I got this rifle was because PRC was so. It still is so new in shooting. I was excited to see how it does, and so far I am blown away.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, you were the only one that seemed to be comfortably reaching out to that 600-yard mark yesterday.
Even at the 600, these Normas I was using, supposedly we don't have a chronometer out there, but supposedly they're holding about 2,200, 2,600 FPS out at 600 yards and still like 1,600 foot-pounds of energy.
Holy shit, dude. Oh no.
What?
I just looked up the price on ammo for this gun right now. Oh god. Oh, I shouldn't have shot through that whole box yesterday. Oh no, buddy. Jesus Christ. Remington core lock. This is what I was shooting yesterday. 150 grain. That's what I was shooting yesterday. Remington core lock, 300 Savage, 150 grain, PSP rifle ammo. $66.99 for 20 rounds.
That's not too bad, actually.
Fuck. I mean, I could just get some Federal for 30, but I don't know if I don't know how. I don't know. What's your take on like Federal? What's like? I saw a lot of people pick up Federal when I used to work at Cabela's, and I was always kind of wary of Federal. I don't know. Have you used it much? What's your take on that?
Now, I'm no ammo snob, but I've used Federal in the old '06 plenty of times. Never had any issues. It's always held decent MOAs. Probably about two or three MOA. But out of like an old '06. Again, another Savage, a Savage Model 10. No, 717. Full left-hand bolt on that one. But I never had any qualms with Federal. I just don't know how it is comparatively to like modern match grade ammo.
God damn, I wish I had $440 right now, dude. I just found Hornady 300 Savage, 150 grain, Super Shock Tip, 500 rounds for $440. That's such a difference in price. That's a huge difference in price.
I mean, I think the best thing you could do price-wise is reload it. Yeah. But downside of that, you need brass to reload, and if you go out and buy brass, you're still paying
right.
Not so much an arm and a leg, but still maybe like an arm for a bag of brass. Right. And then you still got to get your lead, and you still got to get your primers and your powder. Yeah. And then if you go cheap, like I probably will, if you get like an RCBS reloading setup, you're still looking at about $520 without your dies. And without a tumbler.
Dies can get pricey. I mean, if I'm only doing one round, that's not that big of a hit, but
if you're doing one round,
the setup, I might as well, do some 30-30 or something as well.
Yeah, I mean, dies are probably about $20 a piece.
Yeah,
maybe 11 from the last I saw RCBS's stuff running.
Kind of making me wish I picked up more of that brass yesterday.
You didn't pick it all up?
No, I didn't pick up any of it.
Man, since I got the 6.5 last year, I've got every single round.
So that'll
picked up every shell.
That'll just be some other lucky bastard that goes out there and sees that there's 300 Savage and is like, "Fuck yeah!"
Oh, and there's so many brass queens that walk around Pawnee.
Oh yeah, so many. I would definitely feel worse about leaving it there if I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's going to somebody.
Like somebody's gonna get it, and I'm probably honestly at some point I'll probably end up buying it back because I didn't pick it up.
Ooh, please don't buy other people's hand loads. That's how you get Bubblegum's hot load.
Oh yeah, no, I just meant the brass. Oh, do those guys? You think those guys go around, pick all that shit up, and then load it all?
Yeah, that's 100% what they do. They will go around and stock everybody's dig for brass, load it, head up to the next Tanner gun show, and sell questionable loads to people. You either get undercharged ones, overcharged ones, or you get ones that just get stuck in your barrel.
I'm glad you said that because every time I'm at the gun show, I want to buy some of that Dragon's Breath, and I'm like,
that is one of the top things I'll avoid at gun shows, aside from the Alphabet Boys, is fucking Bubba's hot loads.
Are the Alphabet Boys at gun show? I mean, obviously they are, but
you know damn well they're at.
You think they're undercover there?
Probably not so much undercover, but they're sneaky little fuckers. They'll hide where they can.
They are little fucks, dude.
Fucking grimy assholes. Did I tell you about the one I had on Facebook?
What? No.
Yeah, so I had a set of wheels left over from work. Some guy wanted his big fancy Pavement Princess wheels off his truck, and he's like, keep them after I put the stocks back on.
Damn.
So I was like, sweet, that's going to be like an extra $1,200 in my pocket off Facebook.
Yeah.
And I'm getting offers left and right, and I get this message from this one guy. Let me see if I can find it. He was looking to trade me a fairly decent 1911. If I remember correctly, it was like usually retailed for around $1,600.
Okay.
Let's see.
Was it like one of those off-brand ones, or was it a Colt?
It was not an off-brand one, that's for sure, but it wasn't a Colt.
It was like a Scorpion or something. Wait, you said 1911, right?
Yeah, it was a 1911. All right, there's Carl.
Yeah, no, they're out there, man. Those Fed boys, you got to watch out for it. But I've always avoided buying it at the gun show. I've never actually run Dragon's Breath, and I really want to, but
I've got a set if you want to try it. I've got a couple rounds.
It'd have to be through a gun that I didn't care about, you know what I mean? Like, if I was buying a new shotgun soon, I would do it in my current shotgun because I don't care that much about that gun. It's like a cheapo I bought on sale one time. I'd run it through that a few times if I was already buying a new gun, but I don't know.
Oh, I've got my shotgun that I have right now. I fucking hate, so I will I will run anything through that.
Try it all once, right?
Yep. Well, it looks like he removed our own conversation there, but yeah, he was offering this 1911, and I was sitting there thinking about it. I'm like, you know what? I didn't pay nothing for the wheels. If I can get a fucking pistol out of this, I'm still on top.
Yeah, that's a fair trade to me.
But then I thought about it, and I was like, it ain't like 2010 anymore. It's not 2012. So I told the guy, I was like, yeah, I'll do that trade every day. I'd be stupid not to. It's a nice 1911. I was like, we can go meet up at Jack's right now, and we'll do a whole transfer.
Yeah.
And he was like, sure you want to go to Jack's? I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing this sketchy shit. We're doing it legally. And then he kept responding, just wondering where he wanted to meet up, why we wanted, like why I wanted to do the transfer. And I was like, you're a fucking Fed, aren't you? And he's like, oh, what?
Oh, what?
And then I was like, you're a fucking alphabet boy. You're ATF. And he was like, I don't even know what that is. I was like, shut the fuck up.
I don't even know what that is. Jesus Christ. You think they get better training than that?
It's a total fucking narc.
I'm willing to trade you a 1911. I have such a plethora of guns that I'm willing to trade one away for a set of wheels, but I've never heard of the ATF.
I wonder how many poor motherfuckers, like some dumb sons of bitches, fall for that.
A lot, dude. A lot. I feel like me at 18 probably would have fell for that, you know?
I'm surprised I didn't fall for that.
Doesn't that just sound like something that you would have fallen for at a young age where you just didn't really know that much?
Oh, 110%.
You weren't necessarily stupid. You're just ignorant in a way, I guess, to the way the world is.
But, you know, there's plenty of ways to go about getting a free gun. You just got to post a lot about your mental illness, and all of a sudden Uncle Sam will contact you.
Yeah. They'll give you a whole bunch of free guns, and oh no, I probably shouldn't talk about that on here. Yeah. People are probably wondering at this point, there is no video this week because Cody's not here, and I don't feel like dealing with all that. Just want to throw that out there. I realize I hadn't addressed that. It'll still go up on YouTube, but just as an audio file, so enjoy getting flipped off by our logo for the entirety of the episode.
It's going to be a long episode. I mean, we got a lot of points to touch.
Yeah. Well, yeah, no, yesterday was fun. Ryan set his gun up, so yeah, we're gonna be getting some pronghorns this year. I have a good feeling about it.
We're gonna have to reset up Ryan's for sure.
Yeah, he had some serious issues with his glass. He just needs different glass, dude. That glass sucked. I don't know if you looked through it, but
I looked through it. It's clear enough, but I mean, you got 4 mil ticks.
Yeah,
and he's got the upper turret, the elevation turret maxed out, and he's still on the bottom bottom tick.
I was using what was the other gun he had that I was gonna borrow if I didn't buy a gun or get this one working.
That old 243.
Yeah, I'll say this: the buroscope that was on it didn't have the magnification. It didn't have the field of view that the other one did.
Really nice clear glass though.
So clear, dude. I was shocked at how clear. I'm not shit talking your scope here, dude, but I would venture to say it was maybe even a tick clearer than yours. Didn't have nearly the magnification, and that's probably why. I'm sure at the same magnification they're equally or yours overtakes it, but
no, I'll give him that one. That scope. So mine, the Venom, is more or less a budget intro into long range.
Yeah.
So the glass isn't as clear as, you know, you pick up your higher end Burrises in lower magnification, or even your higher end Vortexes like the Viper or the Razor, any of those PSD ones.
That's crazy to me that the Viper is now like one of the higher end, like on their line.
It's not like super high end. It's just one more step up from the Venom in clarity.
Right. I guess it's weird to me that they've, instead of going up from the, you know how most companies would like, they had their set, right? They had their Razorbacks, their Crossfires, their Vipers, and the Diamondback series. You'd think they'd build up from there, but they kind of like came in with more budget options even under those ones.
I appreciate that a lot though, because for somebody getting into long range, like myself, I don't want to spend $2,300 on a piece of glass.
Yeah,
Because I
right.
might suck total asset shooting, which I, still do, but I'm not going to invest $2,300 for me to miss at 500 yards.
Right. It definitely makes more sense to me anyway, logical sense to like get good with cheaper glass and then invest in the good glass because you're just going to get that much better. If you start with good glass and you just spent probably more than the gun is worth on glass that you can't even use to its full potential.
Yeah, the glass is honestly just a good crutch at this point too. Because you look at people like Carlos Hathcock, back in Nam, that dude's using fucking ancient glass. Probably the equivalent of putting 2 glass Coke bottles on the end of a tube. And he held the world's longest confirmed kill forever.
Yeah.
I mean, dude practically duct taped a scope to a Maudus and still hit farther shots than I am right now with my...
Some people just have a knack for it, man. I mean, at the end of the day, you can work as hard as you want to work, but, some people
are born with it.
Yeah, some people are just gifted in long-range shooting. I don't know. It's weird because it's not like throwing a stick, It's not like an evolutionary thing. It's just, I don't know. You got to like trains enough or something to be good at it.
Some people got the sauce, man.
Yeah. That actually reminds me while I was searching the forums on my 300 Savage today, some guy was telling a story. I don't know how real it is, but he was telling a story about how his dad was in Vietnam and was unsatisfied with the long range rifle they had given him. And so his brother, this guy's uncle, had sent a 300 Savage, my 300 Savage, and 4 boxes of ammo to him while he was in Vietnam, and he like used it throughout the remainder of the war. And this guy's like, it's still like kind of surreal to me whenever I take down a deer with this rifle that it has killed humans.
that's got to be a harrowing fact to be holding it in your hands.
Yeah, you're like, I'm holding a war crime in my hands, and this is the biggest rack I've ever seen. So
I'd be pretty inclined to believe that story is a fact, because supposedly it was pretty common to have, your own personal guns shipped to you while you were in Nam. More so common around like tunnel rats.
Yeah, I have heard that, especially from the tunnel rats side of things, that they were often sent gear from home that the military wouldn't supply them with.
Yeah, because I mean, you're sending these short little unfortunate people into little tunnels with a 1911. The eardrums are gone by the time they get out the side of the other side of that rat tunnel.
Dude, isn't it crazy that my uncle still doesn't have to wear hearing aids?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. He must have been real fond of his steel.
I think that's what was happening, because he's told me stories about getting into firefights, and it's mostly firefights. And the one that stood out to him enough to like tell me about it was one of the few times he actually used a grenade in a tunnel. And like he was like, "Yeah, we came out, our ears were bleeding, it was bad."
It's different breed. I mean, you wouldn't think much of them from looking at them, but different breed of badass.
No, yeah, that's crazy too. When you see a lot of those old non-vets, dude. They're like, on average, especially the tunnel rat guys, they're very small in stature. A lot of them, if they're still around, they didn't succumb to drugs and alcohol, so they're. I'm not peeing. I'm pouring another drink.
I was like, you took it all the way to the shitter.
If they're still around, they didn't succumb to drugs and alcohol. On average, they're usually pretty nice guys. So it is crazy to think that they just did some of the most insane fucking warfare that's ever been fought in some of the most insane warfare environment that's ever been fought. I mean, that's the same kind of environment that made fucking Alexander the Great turn his army around,
Mm-hmm. I'll believe it. Vietnam's got to be one of the most gruesome campaigns that, has happened within the last 100 years.
Yeah.
Totally different kind of warfare. I mean, that's all guerrilla.
Yeah. Which, I mean, to a degree has been fought even on U.S. soil, but not to that degree. Not like that.
I mean, you had your Civil War. It was all volley fire, a couple bayonet charges, or a lot of bayonet charges.
The Revolutionary War was
chest out.
The Revolutionary War was mostly, line-to-line fire. There was a good amount of guerrilla warfare, but not not a huge amount of guerrilla. They had, the militias. That was it.
Yeah.
And they had, like, their line fire, and it was mostly line fire.
And you move into World War II, or World War I, I should say, trench warfare. Also, gruesome as fuck with the introduction of,
the shotgun.
Some gnarly shotguns.
Yeah. The war crime stick.
The war crime stick. And definitely with gas, the introduction of the Geneva Suggestions.
I love that meme of the German soldier just chilling in a trench in the 1930s or 40s.
Some 18-year-old with a war crime stick creeping up behind him.
Some 18-year-old American autist with a war crime stick.
Yeah, World War I was brutal just for the fact of new introduction of technology.
Mm-hmm.
And then you moved into World War II.
You saw the first breaking of those rules of war.
Yeah, a lot of war crimes. Like a whole lot of war crimes on both sides.
Yeah.
And
like 6,000 Jews or something died, and it was,
another brutal conflict.
That was a joke. That was just a joke. There were 6 million of them. I feel very bad for them.
Yeah, just brutal in numbers for World War II.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get on into Vietnam era, and it's just absolutely harsh guerrilla warfare. I mean, booby traps everywhere, tunnel rats. It's ridiculous because it carried on into pretty close to modern times with Pol Pot.
Yeah, so I was actually going to ask you if you could maybe enlighten me a little bit on that. I know that's kind of in your background a little bit more. I don't know a lot about that. So how was that transition from that kind of conflict into the Pol Pot thing? Was that like Civil War? That was genocide?
It was more genocide than Civil War.
Okay.
It was kind of Pol Pot's, I want to say, his overreach into.
Doesn't that sound like a Southern barbecue dish?
Pol Pot, yes. It sounds like the white version of hot pot.
It does, yeah. It sounds like pulled pork hot pot.
Yeah, pulled pork hot pot.
Anyway.
But yeah, it was almost just straight genocide. Yeah, not almost. It was straight genocide. I mean, when I went back to go visit family there with my mom, tensions were still very high. I mean, we had government hired officials as our bodyguard. At least 3 of them just escorting us around because we have some officials, like some family that are officials over there. So obviously we're just high priority.
Well,
at that point.
Nice being a visitor to the country. I'm sure it's nice to have that little bit of peace of mind that you have officials with you.
Yeah, it was real nice. I mean, this was back in 2008, real tail end of the conflict and everything.
Right.
Still some tension between certain portions of Cambodia and Thailand. But, I mean, you'd walk around and you don't make it 10 feet without seeing a farmer with like an M79, like a thumper, or M60s that they picked up from Cold War, Vietnam era, M16s, AKs. Everybody's got something strapped to them, just wide in the open while they're walking around.
I definitely I get that feeling having been in Honduras, and they've endured a different it's more like battles with the cartels kind of deal, but
yeah, same but different.
Yeah, I've been in that environment. I know what you're saying about that. Like, you're just like, there's a kid with a fucking AK strapped to him right there. Like, what is happening here?
Yeah, it's just a total shift in reality. You come from the U.S. and you're like, sure, you walk around with a pistol in your waistband. Poser. I mean, these people are carrying some motherfucking heat.
Yeah, dude, this is for real. Talk about Second Amendment, dude. This guy's got a fucking RPG, and he's like, shifting through the rice over here, man.
One of the farmers, he was going through a rice paddy, like same ones my mom went through. Surprisingly, she pointed him out, and he's got a thumper strapped around his back, and he's got a whole bandolier of HE 40 mics just strapped across his chest.
So, how old was your mom when they left Cambodia?
I believe she was around the 14 to 16 age.
Okay, so she was still very young.
She was very young.
Okay.
And, you know,
that would have been in the 80s?
Yeah, somewhere around the 80s. And they got out of there by God's good grace, crawling through minefields and shit. We lost a lot of family crawling through those rice paddies.
Yeah, no doubt.
She recalls, at least with her group that she was escaping with, at least 4 cousins that she watched get blown up by foot mines, landmines.
Jesus Christ.
Because Pol Pot and his boys, they just, not Pol Pot himself because he was, punk bitch.
Right.
But
I imagine him very Kim Jong-esque.
Very Kim Jong-esque.
Yeah.
If you ever look at a picture of him,
yeah,
you can almost see a resemblance.
That seems to be a recurring thing among Asian dictators, that they all go the way of the Jongs, man.
Oh, butt fucking ugly.
Butt fuck ugly, fucking round bellies, never seen the outside of their castle.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, awful shit happened in Cambodia in the 80s all the way on up to the early 2000s. Because even when I went there, like I said, tension's high. You go visit places, booby traps would still be undiscovered. They'd have places cordoned off because there was still minefields active. And the worst thing that always sticks with me whenever I walk around certain like historical ruins is the Cambodian ones. There were pits of baby skulls and baby bones.
Oh my
There's
God.
a couple walls I saw that was all skulls mixed with adult skulls, teenage baby skulls, and you could tell the size difference.
Right.
And they don't tear them down because, one, it's not the biggest priority at the time, and 2, it's kind of a reminder per se.
Yeah, it's a way of them remembering what the fuck happened to them.
Yeah, but man, I'll tell you, the Asians across the whole continent are some brutal people throughout the years.
Oh yeah, dude, look at the Japanese. Jesus Christ.
Ridiculous atrocities.
Yeah. What was the tie-in there with the Pol Pot in Cambodia and then Laos? Are they border each other?
Yeah, Laos, Thailand, Cambodia, if my geography is still up to date, they all sort of touch each other. Okay. Let me look at a map here real quick, actually.
Yeah, I was just pulling one up myself.
Because Lord knows I suck at geography. Yeah, Laos touches Thailand, Thailand touches Cambodia, and Vietnam kind of wraps around their southeastern border. If you're looking at a map and you can see the capital there, Phnom Penh, that place is actually fantastic.
Really?
It's gorgeous.
I'd imagine. I mean, that's the thing when you see a lot of these, even like you see pictures of Vietnam and you're like, God damn, that is fucking beautiful country, man.
And the Angkor Temple? You've probably seen it, the big temple with the 3 points.
Yeah.
We visited that place and actually, fairly up close inside the building. That place is fantastic. And it's beautiful in Cambodia. It almost distracts you from all the shit that happened there.
Right, yeah. No, and I know Laos has some like really cool Buddhist like temples and stuff.
Laos has some amazing sights to see.
Yeah.
But it's just crazy what those motherfuckers build.
And there's still conflict over there, right? Like in small pockets, I'm sure, but like just
small pockets, fairly certain, but for the most part, it's eased off.
Okay. Well, that's good. Jesus Christ, yeah. I mean, to pull us into a history lesson there, but I was very curious about that.
Yeah, it's real interesting stuff. I mean, hearing it from my parents or I should say, but just my mom, and then all her brothers and sisters, because all of them, every single one of them, came over through the same shit, including old grandpa. Old grandpa who's still kicking at 96.
Damn.
Because he was a part of the good militia
Oh.
Yeah. That man has 100% stacked bodies. Like,
Yeah.
bodies on bodies.
It's so weird when you when you're in. Did you ever get to meet him?
No, he's still kicking it, dude. He's
Oh
over
yeah.
at
Oh yeah.
my mom's hanging out with him right now.
I thought you were saying he died in '96. Oh, okay. This is the grandpa that's still alive.
Yeah, he's
Goddamn.
96.
Isn't it
Real
weird
tough.
to interact with people you know have taken multiple lives? Like not not
Not in a bad way. Not in a.
yeah, not like they're serial killers, but like had they done it stateside, they would have been.
They would have been incarcerated.
They would have been serving multiple life sentences for the shit that the U.S. government or whatever other government had them do. You know.
Yeah, it's just weird because you look at all these. Now I'll say older Asians because they're getting older. They're getting up there. They're all small. They're shriveled, wrinkly. You would not imagine them to be the toughest son of a bitch you've ever talked to.
Yeah.
They're so bubbly. They don't carry any of like the 1,000-yard stare that a lot of our vets come back with. I don't know how they don't do it.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it's like when I'm talking to my uncle, and he's just like, "Hey, man, when you get to come over, let's play some guitar. You know, let's hang out. You know, let's
Yeah.
You want to watch our dog while we're out of town. You know, like just I don't know, very almost neighborly in a way towards everyone around him.
Mm-hmm.
And I know the man has stacked bodies.
It's a different
surreal.
kind of personality, man.
Yeah, to just kind of like separate those two parts of your life is pretty. That's something not everyone was able to do, and thank God they were. You know.
Yeah, I mean, put a smile on every day after seeing all the atrocity.
So to bring it around to the other topic we wanted to get to today, I was on that note, on the military note, I was watching some videos on when Harley lost the military contract to the guy that was doing the diesel Yamaha or diesel Kawasaki's. I forget what his name was.
Now, is this in more recent times? Say,
I want to say like
Gulf War,
Desert Storm 1, maybe.
Yeah, where KLR kind of took over.
It was the KLR diesel.
Yep, the diesel KLR.
The JP8. Yeah, dude.
That thing is an absolute tank for a boat. For a motorcycle.
Badass. Boat, motorcycle, whatever you need it to be, man.
Dude, I'm not the biggest fan of Kawasaki. I love my Hondas for their dirt bike side.
Right.
But the KLR is something that will always get respect slathered all over its name whenever it shoots out of my mouth.
Well, apparently, the reason they were able to get the contract over Harley was working on like a, I guess you call it like an early version of the Pan America. It was really like a Sportster that was kind of converted to be off-road.
Yeah, they were working on a whole different bunch of things around then. Folding bikes that were easy to pack away.
The one thing they couldn't get, though, was a consistent fuel source with the rest of what the military uses.
Yep, they could not.
So this Kawasaki came out of nowhere and just fucking whomped on them and took the contract, and they're still out there, dude. You can still find them at auctions and shit.
Oh, and they run fantastic, too.
Yeah, I saw one of them. Had sand in the fuel primer. So it was not running, but, you know, it had that moon sand from over in the east.
Now, one bike you might look at, I don't know if you've already kind of researched a little bit of it, but the MT500, the Harley. Now, if you went and look at that bike, you get a lot of KLR vibes off of it.
Yeah.
But, again, way farther forward in like the 80s, I think, late 70s, early 80s.
So was Harley able to get the military contract back after the KLR?
They were not.
Okay.
These got phased out in late 90s, early 2000s. The military started phasing them out, and not a lot of military used them. I think it was mostly a British and Canadian bike.
Oh, that was one of the other things. I just bringing it back around. That was one of the other things Savage did. He like reinvented the gun that the British military used for like 50 years.
He like reinvented the Enfield.
Yeah. Huh? So does the military just not really use bikes anymore?
They still do that. I mean, there's Ranger divisions out there, I believe, that still use KLRs.
Oh wow.
I could be so wrong on that, but
this one's a MD Maddox Defense MD Hawk all-terrain turbocharged biodiesel Baja Racer. Huh. Weird.
Let's see. Yep, KLR 250s, Kawasaki M1030s, and Cristinis. I don't know if you've ever seen the Cristinis. Those are cool because they're two-wheel drive, all-wheel drive.
Really?
Yeah, there's still units that use all of those bikes.
Huh? Oh. Huh. These guys are using the BRD Redshift MX.
That is an unknown motorcycle to me.
Huh. It's kind of cool. It's kind of cool. It's very very sleek, naked dirt bike. Nothing really special about it.
This is saying here, the 75th Ranger Regiment also uses a KLR 250s for administration and reconnaissance, along with smaller DS-80 Suzukis.
So a couple of the features on that I just wanted to touch on that I thought were really fucking cool. One, the range on the tank, dude. It was like 200 miles on a tank.
On a fucking 3.5, 4-gallon tank?
It was a little over 4 gallons, yeah.
Yep.
Little over 4 gallons. And part of the fuel tank was taken up by a coolant reservoir. So like had they gotten rid of the coolant reservoir or relocated that, they could have got, 4.5 gallons probably.
Hey, my street glide gets about 200 miles to the tank.
But at the time for a dirt bike, pretty impressive.
Dirt bikes have always been getting stellar numbers. I got a 75 TL250. Mm-hmm. I autoed that out to about 120 miles to the 1-gallon tank.
Hell yeah. That's fucking cool.
But for the KLR to be as much of a workhorse as it was, carrying around extra fuel, rifles, the soldier plus whatever armor or armament he's got on him.
Right.
I mean, you get 200 miles to that tank's ridiculous.
And in a diesel engine, I mean, I guess it makes more sense that it gets better fuel mileage on a diesel engine, but
kind of a trade-off on a bike with how heavy that motor's got to be.
Yeah, I don't think they're the fastest thing around by any means.
It's got to get you from A to B.
I was watching, there's what's the channel? Bikes and Beards. There's a...
Cool channel, man.
Huh?
Cool channel.
Yeah, cool channel. I don't... The like random Bible verse in the middle is kind of weird, but it's kind of a cool touch.
That's the whole thing the channel was based off of was, being close to God.
Be close to God. But a couple of the features they went over that I thought were really cool. One, that mileage. The other, the blackout mode. Did you see that?
I did not. Is that where the taillights, headlights
can be they all go to blackout lights.
Yeah, I did that in high school.
They not necessarily like off. They're just really dim lights that you would see. Yeah, you would only see if you were like within a couple feet. If you had 2 guys riding in a line or 3 guys riding in a line, they would see each other, but nobody else would.
Yeah.
So it had that feature. It had a snorkeled exhaust to some degree.
Sealed airbox, I presume.
Probably. Oh, there was another really cool feature. I can't fucking remember now. I mean, I still can't get over the fact that it was diesel, really. It's fucking crazy.
There's so many bikes I can't wrap my head around. Like the Hercules, the old rotary bikes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And then...
rotary engines in general make no sense to me. I knew they're the coolest shit ever, but I just don't get them.
And then one of them that sticks with me hardcore that I want to get my hands on one day, especially because I like classic Honda bikes for their styling, the CBX, and they have a CBX Turbo. So it's inline 6. Yeah, I think it's an inline 6 or an inline 5. I'm really rubbing shit on my face here, but the CBX is fantastic.
Oh, the CBX 6 Turbo?
Yeah.
It's an inline 6?
I believe so.
Oh my god.
inline six. But they had their CBX Turbo too, which is beautiful. They have a great representation of it down in Barber Motorsports, Alabama.
What kind of fucking power? Why are they not still using that design? Was it just too much power for that bike, or?
No, it's not that it's too much power. I mean, look at it. The packaging of it is atrocious.
I think it's beautiful, dude. It's very steampunk looking.
It's beautiful. It's a gorgeous bike. It's just, it doesn't work for riding, really. If you want a daily bike, you got these huge cylinders out hanging the bike like crazy.
It's like a fucking a Valkyrie or whatever.
Yeah, they could probably bring it back if they water cooled it too, because those things pumped out a lot of heat.
Yeah.
But they're gorgeous bikes. I mean, it looks like the CBR 400R that I have, or 400F that I have in the garage, but with 2 more cylinders tacked on.
Right. Dude, yeah, no, if you could get your hands on one of those, maybe not for a daily rider, but like if you want to go up to Bandamere and throw down some track times or something,
They were pretty fast bikes, but they weren't
I have no doubt.
They weren't like ear-splitting fast. They only made maybe 105. I think the turbos made 130 horse. I mean, you get that out of a 600 now.
Yeah, but for the time, that's insane.
For the time, that is insane. And since you have a power sports division attached to you, you might be so lucky as to research, maybe even see, like 70s, 80s 2-stroke street bikes. Those were absolutely ridiculous times for motorcycles because 2-strokes have a gnarly power band in them.
Mm-hmm.
So you get like a 300 2-stroke on the street, and it'd be keeping up with the same time 1100s.
Oh, Jesus.
Crazy amounts of power out of those.
We have a CBR right now, CBR 600 right now that everybody's very like.
Is it a Fireblade?
It's an RR. Yeah. Everybody's very scared of it. Everybody wants to get on it and ride it around, but everybody's very cautious around it. You know what I mean?
Dude, I highly recommend you go down to Barber Motorsports there in Alabama.
What do they got?
They have, I would almost venture to say, almost every motorcycle in time.
Really?
It's about 5 or 6 stories.
That sounds very cool.
There's an elevator and a spiral ramp to take you between each story, and each story kind of covers different generations and different styles and classifications of motorcycle, all the way from the first motorcycle.
Damn.
The coolest bikes in there, and there's so many motorcycles in there. They're not just on the floor; they're hanging from the ceiling, they're hanging from the wall all the way up and down the elevator shaft. They're everywhere. And then there's also a track attached to the back of the building that Porsche does their Porsche experience at.
Really?
Yep. And then they have a whole bunch of old school F1 cars.
One thing I really hope we do at the dealership I work at is I really like how Sun has their that little museum inside with all the like old Harleys and shit in it. That is so cool to me. And
I am so fond of that museum up there.
Yeah, it's like the tiniest little thing. It's just a little room, and they don't even have all of the classic Harleys. They just have like the really cool ones,
Now, you're talking about the Sun Harley there, right?
Is it the Harley or the Honda that has the museum?
The Sun Honda has a museum, but it's mostly metric bikes. I'm pretty happy to say I got I think 3 or 4 of the bikes that are up there.
Nice.
I'm like,
that's great.
Sweet. I've already got like a mini collection.
I've been thinking more and more. I feel like I have to hold on to the bike I have now just for like posterity's sake, or just because of what bike it is. And especially talking to a lot of Honda guys recently, they all seem to be in some way more impressed by my bike than I am. You know what I mean?
Dude, the Ace is
Like,
whether or not a lot of people choose to believe it, Harley guys, the Ace is a piece of history for Honda
yeah,
because, it was a hard time for Honda having to compete in the American market with their, not so American sounding motorcycle.
yeah, and they fucking nailed it. Like they
Yeah,
they
and it went
killed
for
it.
a small stretch of time. But based on a sentimental standpoint, I'll tell you to hang on to that bike forever if you can.
Yeah, I
Uh,
mean, at this point, I think that's my plan because, like, I'm talking to these Honda guys. I had one of the parts guys there, one of the metric parts guys the other day. We were talking about like what kind of motorcycle I get next, and he's like, "Oh, you could trade your bike in," and I was like, "Yeah," and then he was like, "Wait, you have the Ace, right?" And I was like, "Yeah," and he was like, "I'll kill you if you ever get rid of that bike."
that's also why I didn't do anything like extremely altering to it when I had it.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't chop off the back of the frame or anything. I didn't cut any important pieces off of it. I think the most altering thing I did was drill some
This,
holes and tap them to put the Batwing on, but that
yeah,
comes off lickety split.
and the straight pipe, which I'm sure you could, you could find some. You
Oh,
could
I
go to
still got
junkyard some old
I
pipes.
I still got your factory pipe sitting here on my shelf.
Oh, I should grab those. Yeah,
But
no,
yeah,
it's
I
a cool
mean,
bike.
like what happened with my bike? I mean, I was riding a lot of my dad's bikes before I got my license, just because, you know, work schedules lined up differently than school, so I could always sneak them out. But when I finally bought my own bike, like sophomore year, you remember it, the old '85 Virago, the XV700.
Oh, the Virago.
I molested the fuck out of that thing, chopping off the back of
Yeah.
it, chopping the front up, going between spring and solid suspension
That thing
back
didn't
and
even.
forth like
It didn't look
15
like a
times.
Virago.
Oh, look nothing like a Virago. But I
What
wish
year
I
was
would
it?
have. That was an '85. I mean, you pull up a picture of it stock, which I got it stock. The only thing wrong with it was the lady put it down and bent the swing arm. So I heated it up with an oxy torch and put a piece of rebar in it and got it eye level straight.
Oh hell yeah.
But there's two things I wish I
Yeah,
never did to that bike.
this is yeah. I'm pulling them up right here. These look nothing like the bike that you had.
Absolutely nothing like it.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Your Virago ended up looking more like a sport bike by the end of its life, right?
No, it looked a lot like just a classic bobber, except with a
Okay,
fatter tank because I couldn't afford a
right,
teardrop tank off my high school salary.
right.
Yeah, there's two things I wish I never did to that bike. I wish I never chopped it up. I'm glad I did because it was fun as fuck.
Right.
But I wish I never chopped it up, and I wish I never sold it because it
Yeah.
was, all intents and purposes, my first bike. I mean, sentimental value is a big thing.
Yeah, definitely. Um, which is why I'm so bummed that they're fucking ruining Harley this year. Not that I've ever been the biggest Harley fan, but I've recently come around on them, and I feel like I jumped in right at the point where they're going to take a real bad shift.
That's the beautiful thing about just cars and motorcycles is you don't gotta buy a new thing. You could always dial the clock back
Well,
and
yeah,
pick up like in 2012.
I think that's what I'm leaning towards. I was looking at a 2008 or 2012 recently.
That's
But yeah,
great though because I'm not a fan of the M8. I like it. I'm just not a fan of it.
that's the sentiment I get a lot around the Harley dealership that I work at. Is a lot of guys. There's a surprising amount of AMF fans that are still out there.
They're those are some what do you call it when you like being abused?
Right. Battered housewives.
No, those are some God, what do you call it? Those are some masochistic
Yeah,
motherfuckers.
masochist. Yeah.
They I mean, thank God AMF saved Harley because I do like the history behind it. And
Hmm.
obviously I was anti Harley and then I got the Street Glide.
Right.
Um which opened
Which
my eyes. Different point of view.
seems to be the case for most, or not most, but a lot of Harley guys were haters before they got one.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying they're the best bikes in the world, but there's definitely something to them that gives them a certain allure. But yeah, I mean, these people stuck on AMF, they're either masochistic, nostalgic, or they just don't want to grow old.
Yeah.
'Cause they were not great bikes at all.
Yeah, they still have some like literature up on the walls at our dealership, like in the bathroom specifically is where I know of one, because I'm taking enough shits there to like have read the whole thing top to bottom, left to right 25 times. But which I will say, it's a beautiful thing when you work somewhere you feel comfortable enough to take a shit. I mean, that's a different level of comfort.
I take about 4 or 5 a day.
Yeah, boss makes $1, I make a dime, right?
Yep.
But I've read it top to bottom, and it's about the AMF engines, and it just is like, they're so easy to take apart and put back together. Do it yourself.
You're gonna have to a couple hundred times if you want to make it somewhere.
That's like, I'm reading this, like their whole spiel for it is that it's easy enough to rebuild. Like, I'm not trying to rebuild my motorcycle, dude. Just build one that works.
I mean, I bet you if you looked up a picture of some dealerships in the AMF era, you could probably find a row of bikes on the dealership floor with oil pans under them.
Or oil spots on the ground. Yeah, there'd be a lot of fucking oil on the ground.
They leaked that fucking bad. I mean, that was before the Evo motors came into play, and the Evo motor's an old fucking motor.
What made them leak so bad? Was it like, were they using like the cardboard seals, or what's up?
Now, here's the best part of it. The old shovel heads, old pan heads, they were all, to my knowledge, externally oiled. So you had an oil reservoir. What? You know where the side caps are on your Shadow, the plastic covers?
Yeah.
And where mine are on the Harley? That used to be an oil tank. Really? So you filled that with oil, and it had 2 lines running down into the motor, and it would oil directly.
So the motor was just a solid block?
Pretty much. It was a dry sump system. It was an early dry sump system. So it
innovative. Not effective, but innovative.
Not innovative. It's all they could do because they couldn't. When old Harley started designing these things, they didn't have precision machinery in order to face off cases to make them seal up to each other. They didn't have good enough gasket material because they were all still in paper and cork. Mostly cork, because paper's been holding up to this day. I mean, half the shit on your...
Wild that they used cork as a fucking sealant.
I mean, I still use cork on the old Fairlane, the 64.
Is that just because of what it requires or recommends, or is that a personal preference? Like, you could be using silicone or whatever.
That one's more of a personal preference. They've got a whole bunch of updated shit for them, all rubber, silicone, and all that, but...
Right.
You know, my old buddy Daryl, before he passed, he gave me his whole stock room of like Ford parts, because him and I were big Ford fanboys. We would just,
that's awesome.
We jerk off Ford any second we got.
Right.
But yeah, before he passed, I mean, he didn't even know he was gonna pass, but he just started handing me shit because his son passed, left the Maverick behind. He never touched it again. His Bronco days, he was a big Bronco mutter and 4-wheel magazine.
Oh, hell yeah.
He got rid of his Bronco, his wife's Bronco. And all Fords back in the day, they were running a 302 or a 289, so he just handed me everything because he wanted to see the Fairlane up and going. So that's why I'm running cork on it. I had it on hand.
Oh, well, yeah, I get that. But I just like the physical properties of cork, I guess, make it seem like it wouldn't be the best of sealant.
It really isn't. I mean, you get maybe 1,000 miles, 2,000 miles before they get soaked and start to leak through.
Right.
And you got to go through and replace it again. And they swell up, but the reason they used it is it had really good shape conforming properties to it.
Yeah, I could see that. Definitely.
Yeah, so you put it on an edge, it'll shape to the edge and seal better than if you were to just slap the part on there.
Yeah, I get that.
But that's big majority why Harleys leak so much. They had terrible early external oiling systems, terrible gaskets and seals. I mean, if you look through the whole journey of them even making the first WLA, they could not come out with a production model for so long because they couldn't get it to not leak oil.
Yikes. Yeah. And that, I mean, I get liking Harley to like Harley, but a lot of these guys were like, I guess it's that I don't know. They didn't know Harley before AMF. They came into Harley during AMF, and then when Harley was no longer AMF, it's just got to be like a longing for the old days kind of thing, because it doesn't make any sense to prefer AMF over, maybe not even like the most recent bikes, but like, Harley's glory days of the early 2000s or late 90s, or well,
dude, I wouldn't say Harley's had a glory day since maybe the 50s.
World War II, but you know what I mean, of their modern bikes, right? From the 80s onward, that like 2005 to 2012 or whatever.
I mean, don't get me wrong, there's plenty of things to hit like not like Harley about. I mean, they handle like turd comparatively to other bikes. If you go up to a metric like a Vulcan and you put it up against a Street Glide, the Vulcan just handles so much better.
Oh yeah.
And all their touring bikes share the same frame between the Road Glide and the Street Glide, and the Electric Glide and the Ultra Glide. They all share the same frame between all the models, and the frame is just inherently flawed, being that they use a rubber-mounted motor on a tubular chassis with a swing arm attached to the transmission, going back with the engine stabilizers.
They still use the rubber mount, right?
They still use the rubber mount on the touring models. They've gone away from it on the lowriders and like the Fat Boy and the Fat Bob. All those are all solid mounted now.
Good to know. See, you're just reaffirming that I should just get one of those Softail, like, or the Fat Boy or something.
They ain't nothing wrong with the touring models when you take your preventative measures.
Right. But who wants to get into a bike, just especially a $25,000 bike or a $30,000 bike, just to like change a bunch of shit on it right away?
It's not even changing. It's just adding. And these people are gonna dump 20 G's into a stage 3 Screaming Eagle kit anyway. Might as well make the bike safe.
True. Yeah, I
it's
guess
a comfort aspect too.
When it comes to power though, or like just straight up speed or performance out of a cruiser, you're better off looking at like a Yamaha or something, which unfortunately they're not making them anymore, but
And even then it's hard because there's no aftermarket. Yamaha is kind of like a one-hit wonder. I use that term very loosely for their power cruisers.
Right, the Raiders and the V-Star. Well, the Stars, not the V-Stars so much, but
now I appreciate Harley's been getting into performance a lot with their M8 engines, because I mean, those 131s, those things fucking fly.
And what do you think of the new 1250s? The
new Evolution Max motors.
Yeah, the Power Max motors or whatever they are.
I like them.
Like the Pan Americas and the new Night.
What are they? Yeah, called? The Nightster and all that, and new Sportster S.
Yeah.
I like the motor. It's a stellar motor. It's the same, if not very closely related to the V-Rod motor. So in conjunction with Porsche, they made that motor for the V-Rod. That's a fantastic motor. I mean, it's got power. It's water cooled. It's got torque. Pretty decent through the ranges, and it's a fairly reliable motor.
It still fucking baffles me that the Pan America has fucking active ride height, dude. That's fucking crazy on a bike.
I do like that. That sucked me in hard. Crazy. Pan America.
Well, yeah. Well, especially for us short guys, right? Like, I'm tiptoes on that thing when it's not on.
I'm tiptoes when it is on.
Right, but I'm just saying, like, because you're able to kind of tiptoe on your 600, right?
The 600, I got to slide one cheek off, and I got to tiptoe on the ground.
And we're talking what's the full model?
This is the 86 XL 600.
Okay, so yeah, you're kind of tiptoes on that. But do you ever like jump off at a light?
No, I never jump off at a light. I mean, I've been vertically challenged my whole life, So
you figured it out.
I figured it out because all the bikes out there I want to ride, I will never be able to flat foot.
Yeah, I mean, You could probably flat foot a Heritage for sure.
I can if it's got a skinny seat on it. So right now on the Glide, I got a big fat Mustang seat on it. I can almost flat foot it now that I lowered the back end about a half inch to an inch.
That's why
fat seat, it's pushing my fucking thunder thighs out.
That's why I wear my fucking shit kickers to work, dude. So I can so I can quote unquote flat foot these bikes, man, because I'm tippy toes, but that extra 2 inches of heel, you know.
So like on the Shadow, I've always been able to flat foot that thing until I put this slash cuts on, and now I had to stick my right leg out so that my beautiful underside of my thigh wouldn't get all, I can't say that, all burned up.
Yeah, I haven't had any problems flat footing the Shadow, but I also haven't messed around with the back suspension or anything, so
you really can't mess around with that back suspension too much. I think it's about as low as it goes.
But I mean, like if I raised it for two up or something, you know.
Yeah.
So I haven't messed with that. I really should, because I've definitely dragged that fender riding two up on that thing. But
me too. That poor Shadow's been through the ringer between the two of us.
But it never dies, dude. We had a Honda come into our service shop the other day, and it was just this like old guy on a Goldwing, you know. I think I told you this story already.
Oh yeah, it came in with no fucking oil in the crankcase. Huh?
Yeah, dude. And they're like, "When's the last time you had the service?" And he was like, "It's kind of been sitting. It's been a few years." They were like, "Well, there's no oil in it anywhere."
That shit don't just evaporate.
He had gnarly leaks, I believe, is what the thing was. Like every seal was leaked out, and because it was like it's been a few years since it's been serviced or something, but it sat there and didn't get any of the seals. Check. What's that?
It's a preventative check. If it's leaking, it's got oil in it.
Right. Well, it apparently had stopped leaking.
Yep, stopped leaking, no oil. You should have noticed.
But I mean, only a Honda could make it to the service shop with no oil in it.
And God knows how long he's been riding it before he finally brought it into the shop. Because I mean,
you probably rode it for a week or two.
Yeah, you guys are at least a week or two out for appointments.
I think we're like over a month at this point.
And you wonder why I work on all my own bikes.
Oh, I don't, man. I know what they charge.
It's not even the charge
cost.
But I'll pay somebody to take the headache off my hands, but I don't want my bike to be down for 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah, that is the bitch of it. And then by the time it's been there long enough, they're like, "What do you want for a trade-in?"
Yeah, and it's like, well, fucking riding season's over. Just give me the fucker back.
Yeah. I'll do it. Yeah. It's it's pretty crazy. I've been looking though at the Harleys just because I work there and I get a good discount on them. But I still think, I don't know, I'm still leaning towards maybe going metric on my next bike again. Especially I'll say this, I've been looking specifically at a bike that I'm like, okay, I'm a heavy set fellow. I will hopefully not be that heavy set in the future, but I want to have a bike that I, as a heavy set fellow, can still ride two up on and still drop a gear and disappear. You know what I mean? And I'm really looking at the Yamahas, man. I'm really looking at the Stars. I have a coworker who has a Star that's turboed.
Oh yeah.
And he probably weighs like 350 to 400 pounds. Like he's a big boy. He needs to have that bike to ride.
Now, you know me, I'm not going to sway you away from doing metric. I love metric. They're reliable. They're reliable and easy to maintain, and they're modern. There's no extra shit tacked onto them. But I got to suggest going through a Harley phase. It's something else.
I'm going to have to at some point.
But if I were to suggest a Harley phase, I'd say your easiest bet to being closest to an OG Harley feel.
I've already decided what Harley I'm gonna get if I get one.
What are you getting? It better have a twin cam in it.
Heritage S.
New one?
Yeah.
Oh, you gotta buy a twin cam, man.
I'll think about it. Maybe that fucking that Road King that we were looking at the other day, but I just like the Heritage for its looks. It reminds me a lot of the Shadow, you know. It's just cruiser, you know. But you can turn it into a touring bike very easily. Or at least a good 2-up bike.
Yeah, you gotta look up a Road King with a FX RT fairing on it, because it is probably one of the coolest looking bikes, in my opinion, in my very fucking humble opinion.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I don't know, man. If I can find a screaming deal on a Star, I might go that way. But with my discount, it does make a lot of sense to buy a Harley. So I don't know.
I also do just like the aftermarket available for Harley.
Yeah, and especially so like. Yeah. I would get a better discount than even a lot of people working at other Harley dealerships get. Just
your discount sounds absolutely wackadoo.
Well, yeah, and we're an MSRP dealer, so you know it's sticker price, and there's no markups. It's not like fucking what's their cucks on the highway, you know. You're gonna pay $40,000 for a street glide.
You won't catch me dead paying that much for a fucking street glide.
Yeah, dude, that's
insane. I about fucking slipped my wrist after paying fucking 10 for mine.
Dude, their markups there are fucking insane. Like we had one of the 120th anniversary Fat Boys. Like one of very few on the market right now. And our 120th anniversary Fat Boy out the door was like $10,000 cheaper than a Road King at the other dealership.
Dude, speaking of Fat Boys, I will not rest until I get my hands on a 98 Fat Boy.
Why is that?
It's been one of the longest running bikes that I've been wanting. Sole reason, and I think it's the sole reason a lot of people want the 98, is because of Terminator 2.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's a pretty bike too.
What an iconic bike, especially for me. I fucking love Terminator 2. I wish I could watch it again.
What is that pipe setup called where it's just like it's one out or something, you know, it's not 1 and 2 or 2 and 1.
1-to-1s.
1-to-1s?
Yeah, true duals. Oh. I got the true dual Reinhardts on the Street Glide.
Oh my god. It just looks better, you know?
You know what I like is Two Brothers, I think. It's a 2-to-1, but it's a giant one, and it hangs out right in front of the, I'll say, passenger side bag.
Okay. I can see that.
And it's got a gnarly cut on it to where, oh, here's a picture of one. I'll just copy that image and paste it into your chat because I've been considering this. Not seriously. But it's just a sweet exhaust. It's 2 big pipes they collect, and they go into like a 4-inch exit right in front of the passenger bag.
I'm excited to see that picture, but the last
I know you can't pull it up right now.
No, I'm pulling it up right now. Is it in the Discord chat?
Yeah, it's in your personal. I hit you DMs with it.
Oh, I was looking in the podcast channel chat, and the last picture is from Emma, and it's a swastika overlay drawn over DIA.
Oh, yeah. Would you look at that?
I forgot that was a whole topic we did on the show. She literally traced it for us.
Yeah, I'll paste it in the podcast chat for you there.
Okay. Oh, yeah. No, that's a clean look, man. Oh, okay.
It's a clean look, but I love my Reinhardts.
Yeah. I love the look of Reinhardts, dude. Whenever we get a used model in that has them, I'm like, this just looks better.
As young as I am, I'm an old man, and I like the sound, but I more so like the sound fucking behind me while I'm riding.
Oh, God. Did you see me trying to race Sean last night in his VW?
Yeah, dude.
I was keeping up with him until I topped out 5th gear, and then he fucking just pulled away from me, man.
That'll happen on the Shadow, dude.
Ah, man. If that bike just needed, why did they not give it a 6th gear? It has the power for it. It doesn't make sense.
It's the 90s, dude. And I wouldn't go so far as to say it's got the power for it. I mean, it's got 52 horsepower, brand new, at sea level.
Yeah, it's probably closer to like 45 right now.
Yeah.
But it's still, I mean, it's a screaming little machine. What it has going for it is its curb weight. And I never run the tank full because I'm broke.
About 550, 650 pounds wet.
Yeah, dry 480. So yeah, somewhere around there.
Yeah, it beats the shit out of the Harley. I'm running on about 1,100 wet.
Yeah, even the 114 police bikes are like 980 something.
And those are stripped down models.
Yeah. Those put out some horsepower, dude. I was watching a video on those where they were trying to like bust if they do something to those police bikes, and they put them on the Dyna, and for that years they should have been between 56 and 64 horsepower.
Probably ramping up around like 70, 80.
Yeah. It was putting down like in the mid 70s. They couldn't figure out what they did to them, but
I bet you it's just some nice porting.
Probably, or they bored them out or something. They were like not actually 114s.
What year police bike?
I want to say it was like a 2006.
I bet you they had them punched out to the 110 like mine. Or I bet you had them punched out to the 110. I'm at a 103. And surprisingly, I don't think I'd like my bike.
You have a 114?
No. So mine is a base 96.
Okay.
But I don't think I'd like my bike as much as I do if it was still the base 96.
What kind of horsepower does your bike put up?
So with the Stage 3 and a different set of cams, it's a real gnarly set of cams. On the dyno, that thing put down 110 horse and 123 foot-pounds of torque.
Stage 3 is...
Stage 3 is going to be new jugs, new heads, camshafts, exhaust.
Cams. Stage 2, and then you jump up to Stage 3 is where you get the cams.
Stage 3 is where you get the bigger jugs, so bigger cylinders, higher compression piston.
Okay.
Stage 2 is cams and exhaust, and then Stage 1 is exhaust and tune and an air filter.
You have a gnarly tune on yours as well, right?
Pretty conservative tune.
Okay.
Because the guy that had originally done it wanted reliability out of it, and God, we're getting reliability out of it. I mean, I picked the thing up last year with 33,000, and I got 55,000 on it. 2 years ago. I picked it up 2 years ago.
Dude, you should schedule it sometime and just like pay the fee to, I don't know what other Harley dealerships are doing. I'm sure they all have dynos, but pay that hourly fee and just have them fucking test it one time. See what you're actually putting up now.
Yeah, I was gonna throw it down on Imperial Sport Bikes dyno that they have, because I've gone there before. Nice. But they've pissed me off with this last. I tried to contact them.
Oh, well.
Because yeah, the sheets that were provided from the last time that thing was on a dyno was, I believe it was back in like 2012 or 13. It was right after he did the Stage 3 and everything, and that's when it was putting down its 110 and 123. So I bet you if I were to check it now, it'd probably slack down around the 90 to 98.
That's still pretty good. And I mean, I've ridden your bike. It doesn't feel underpowered by any means. What time did you put up at Bandamere?
It
was like a 14 something or 12 something?
I think I put down like a 12.6 on that Harley.
Nice.
It's either 12.6 or 13.6. I'd have to find the time slip somewhere.
Well, it does burnouts, and that's good enough for me.
It apparently pulls the front wheel off the ground too.
Ooh, that's a little sketchy for me. Last thing I'm trying to do is have an 1,100-pound bike doing a wheelie, dude.
That's the first thing I want to do.
Oh man.
But it also gives the Lowrider ST a decent run for its money with its 114, 117.
Yeah, I don't know. 114.
Yeah. So it keeps up with an M8. I'm happy with that.
Well, we're at about an hour and a half here. Shit, we could probably talk forever on this shit, so
we'll be going far into midnight if we have to continue.
Yeah, we'll save it for another time, but thanks for riding with us. What all we talked about, like, it was just bro shit today, dude.
Oh yeah.
This is the real shit. This is what people actually want to hear. Nobody wants to hear about politics.
Guns, war crimes, and motorcycles.
Fuck yeah. Guns, war crimes, and motorcycles. Let's go.
That's the title of this podcast, boss.
Oh, absolutely. I was just struggling to remember him all so I could make the title. That's it. Guns, war crimes, and podcasts. Or bikes. Yeah, follow us at Don't Tell Me Cast on everything. Don'tTellMePodcast.com. Thanks again, Travis, for coming on, talking.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, anytime. And we'll see you fuckers next time. Peace.